All right, and we are back with another Monday preview. NHL is back. Chicago Blackhawks are back, and it's great. We've got 3 games this upcoming week. We've got the Nashville Predators, Colorado Avalanche, and then the Utah Mammoth. All of these games are going to be out on the road. The boys do not have a home game until the first Friday in March, which is also coincidentally trade deadline day. First matchup is against the Nashville Predators. That's going to be in Nashville. This is the first game that both teams will have post-Olympic break. So I would expect, maybe some, working out some tired issues in the first 20, and then we might be able to see a little bit more speed, a little bit more everything up to par later in the game. Maybe. Who knows? It also could be both of these teams have had quality rest with, minus the guys who played in the Olympics. And, it's a super fast game from the jump. But I would imagine that, the first 20, maybe they're getting back into the swing of things on both sides. Nashville does not have anyone out on IR at the time of recording. They are 5th out of 8th in the Central. Their last 10 are 3, 4, and 3. Notable forwards, we've got Forsberg, O'Reilly, Evangelista, and Stamkos. For defensemen, you've got Yossi and Shea. Goaltending tandem is going to be Jussi Saros and Justin Annunen. I would imagine that Saros is in net, even though he's just played a ton of hockey for Team Finland in the Olympics. It is a home game for Nashville, Nashville-Chicago rivalry. I think it's a slam dunk that Saros gets the net for the first game post-Olympic break. Like I said, this is going to be a weird one, a little bit harder to predict. We've played Nashville this season, we've lost. We've played Nashville this season, and we've won. But I think that first 20 minutes is going to be both teams trying to, get back into the swing of things. Then we jump to Colorado on Saturday. So there's no back-to-back for either Chicago or Colorado prior to this matchup. They both play Thursday, and then they play Saturday. Again, this is an away game for the Hawks. The only person that's out for the Colorado Avalanche right now on injured reserve is O'Connor, out with a hip injury. And as we know, Colorado's been sitting number 1 out of 8 in the Central basically since October. Their last 10 are 4, 5, and 1. Notable forwards, you've got McKinnon, you've got Nelson, you've got Landeskog, you've got Natchez, and you've got Lehkonen. Defensemen, you've got Makar and you've got Taves. Goaltending tandem is going to be Blackwood and Wedgwood. I'm not 100% sure who's going to be starting for Saturday, just because, this is the first week back post-Olympic break. But Colorado plays Wednesday, they play Thursday, and then they play Saturday, so I would imagine whoever doesn't play Thursday is going to end up getting the net on Saturday, but we shall see, barring anything wacky happens on Wednesday and Thursday. Colorado's a very good team, very fast team, highly productive team, but they also had a lot of guys go to the Olympics that have played a lot of hockey, where there's a lot of guys on the Hawks that were able to get some quality rest, so I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe they're still a little bit tired. Probably not, but I think there's definitely room to capitalize, especially because we played Colorado before this year, and even though we have lost to Colorado, we were able to skate with them. So I think this is going to be a big, pucks on net game, a very big step up for the defensemen, especially depending on which defensemen are in Chicago versus in Rockford at that point. We've got a lot of the young kids called up right now just to get some extra practice. But if that stays the same, if Core is up, if Sam is up, if Kaiser's still hurt, it's definitely going to be a big, game for the younger defensemen. But again, we will see. And then final game is going to be the Utah Mammoth. We have not played them since October, but we do play them 3 times within the next 2 weeks. We play them once this week, and then we play them twice the following week. So we'll talk about them a little bit more when we have, a game under our belt and, 2 matchups to look at. Injured reserve, you've got Cooley out with a lower body, Thornton out with undisclosed, Kerfoot out with an upper body. Currently, Utah Mammoth are sitting 4th out of 8th in the Central. Their last 10 prior to the break is 7, 3, and 0. Notable forwards, you've got Peterka, you've got Keller, you've got Gunther, you've got Schmaltz, you've got Butte. Defensemen, you've got Sergachev, Marino, Jersey, and Simashev. And then goaltending tandem is you've got Vmelka and Vanacek. It is a back-to-back for us. We play Colorado on Saturday, and then we play Utah on Sunday. So I would imagine Spencer's going to get the net for Colorado, and then Bloom will get the net for Utah, just because it is a back-to-back, and it is a back-to-back for Hawks to be away for both games. So, you've got to play one game Saturday, travel to Utah, and then play the afternoon game on Sunday. So boys are going to be a little bit tired for this matchup, which is why I'm assuming that obviously you're not going to give Knight the net for both games. But if you're going to give Knight the net for one, I would imagine it's against Colorado, and then Bloom will get the net for Utah. Prior to the Olympic break, Utah was very, very high scoring with their last couple of matchups before the break. So again, this is going to be a very big step up game for the defensemen, depending on how many kiddos are there. And forward wise, we can't hesitate to keep holding the puck, just pucks on net. Constantly pucks on net, and hopefully we're able to walk away with 2 points, because we were able to walk away with 2 points last time we faced Utah. That was actually our first win of the season. And like I said, we've got a couple of more matchups with Utah the following week. And also, like I said, this is a complete road week for the boys. They are out on the road with Nashville, Colorado, and Utah. They do not come home until the day of the trade deadline. Once the Olympics are done, that Olympic freeze is lifted, and then the GMs and everybody in the NHL are able to continue making trades prior to the trade deadline. So I would assume, this may be a highly active period post-Olympics before trade deadline. So I would say just kind of watch out, not only to see what Chicago does, but what other teams do, because, things could change pretty quickly within these next couple of weeks prior to the trade deadline. But that is all. We've got Nashville, we've got Colorado, we've got Utah. Let's try to get a couple of points out of this week. That is all, and we will talk to you guys next week.